song when I was 8 years old. It's called Highway by Stevie Ray Vaughan.
you must have noticed that, that effect of jumping horse, that how horse moving, that's typical.
It's called the Texas shuffle.
Yeah, that's Stevie Ray Vaughan style, which he has just demonstrated. And moving to Jean-Michel Basquiat, spelling mistake. Jean-Michel Basquiat is he died at a very young age, but what he executed his work completely through graffiti style. The first time it's open up. It's called that Angel, and it's free lines, and most of the time like, he used to unveil the subconscious level, and sometimes he used to take some other support, other helps, even sometimes from narcotics and all, which caused his death later. It's a very sad thing, but he produced amazing work, and at this young age he became a big pop star in the visual art world. And it's almost done. Just few contemporary works I'm going to show you from the exhibitions called Blues for Smoke. The Blues for Smoke, which actually started from 2013 at the Whitney Museum of American Art, and then the Museum of Los Angeles. And they do every year. They have shows from artists from, especially from America and all over the world, to illustrate how the visual arts got the blues through the visual works, painting, drawing, sculpture, photography, video, and installations, and all sort of kind of techniques and art, as smoky and ill-defined as the idea of the blues can be. Blues for Smoke pictures blues as a fleeting feeling, a lasting philosophy, and nearly everything in between. The exhibition takes its title from jazz pianist Jackie Byers' 1960 solo album of the same name, which is Blues for Smoke. Byard built a reputation as an elusive musician who could move easily from 1920s style like stride piano to 1970s full-on funk and everything in between. So this is the kind of poster and actually someone's work, and then which you found that probably that some big bands names are there from contemporary music in that time, and which shows the colors and the execution of light and the using of the red and pink in the card is very much kind of an jazz spirit in that. This is something, another very well-known contemporary artist, very young, and Alma Toma. Alma Toma is originally from Belgium, and it's called Late Night Reflections in 1972's work, and he worked with a little bit more optical illusionistic work, and which represents more psychedelic music, and based on the very much essentially blues spirit. And this is an acrylic work. You can see the next work also, very interesting abstract work. You can find that the music elements are pretty much there. This is a work who lives in Spain, and Martin Wong, La Vida, that's the title. It's 1988, and he's still working on this kind of style. You can see the commune live and the staircases, kind of musical chord. Everybody has got an individual identity there, different activities going on in below. And this exhibition is very significant, as I showed. This is my work. This is kind of when I was working in Vermont, and this is called the Christmas. This is snowflakes coming around, and this is watercolor. So, I thought this must, go with this kind of work here, so I just put it there. This is work by David Hammonds, and this is called Chasing the Blue Train. You can see a blue trains there in the track. Part of the pianos and the structure kind of dismantled everywhere, and this is essentially very much musical.
Blue Train is also a John Coltrane album.
Yes, from there only. That's absolutely the name taken from there. And uh, this is by Robert Sadel. It is from Los Angeles, and this is called Black Mirror. And it's a huge installations with the music and mirrors are there. And the whole construction, the structure moves on with the music, which is kind of fiberglass, the light created inside, and the whole thing is without light, just the reflection comes there on the black mirror, the mirror itself. So it's very musical demonstration with the whole installation, and it's primarily homage to blues. I think we can have the last song from Satyajit so that we can end up the session. And then I don't know, do we have enough time for the interactive session? So if you'd like to say something or ask something, that would be great. It depends on the American Center. Anyhow. And thank you very much, Mr. Dragon, Director, American Center. Thank you very much, Dr. Banerjee, Dr. Shushantamani. Thank you very much, Mrs. Nandini Mukherjee. Thank you all for having so much patience to hear me out and then also for the music. And I think that this one important part is that you take care of art and music and you grow up, and that's the best thing in life, which you live with this kind of aesthetical feeling, and that's more spiritual. Thank you very much.
That was a wonderful presentation, but due to paucity of time, we'll have to restrict the question hour session. Really, it will not be a session, but just to 2 or 3 questions. So, the first 3 questions perhaps. The gentleman, yes? Question?
My question is that we saw the all famous pictures art in the screen, and in all of them, who are the best and greatest artists in 18th, 19th and 20th century?
Greatest means what? Like they got success in their lifetime, or they got their works got sold more than which way?
They
The
on
names.
their arts.
They all are big names. Well, they all are big artists, including
Like Rabindranath, who is famous in all greatest art poet. Who is the famous artist? Who are that?
Sir, all of them.
All of them. Achha, all of them. Okay, thank you.
Our second question. Anybody else?
I've got a curiosity. I just want to know to the jazz and to the guitarists. Is there a difference between jazz and blue, or this is what we have heard now? This is blue or jazz, or jazz blue both combined?
Blues was the first oppressed music of the oppressed, and it became quite widespread as a form of music. But the thing is, because the black people were so segregated, and they generally didn't have a common area to meet, and blues started developing as this language that they could communicate in when they were spending time in a leisurely way. But because they had so little time for leisure, they wanted to have an intellectual
Get together.
meaning. Yeah, they just wanted to be an intellectual hang, basically.
That's okay, but then jazz is a totally different thing.
So jazz comes from blues. Blues is the sentiment, and jazz is what became of the blues, the more intellectual and.
So jazz was evolved much later.
Yeah, jazz is just basically a blues that developed over the years.
When it was developed,
Yeah.
jazz, do you have any idea?
When you add
The jazz, when it was developed, like blue.
Okay, jazz
In
was
1890s.
jazz was around the 20s when
I see.
blues musicians in particular started taking show tunes and
Okay.
making versions of it.
And it was also developed in America, in US.
Yeah.
Jazz also.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So basically, blues slaves, African American slaves in the United States and otherwise, it was basically, they would be working and they would be mining and stuff. So to make life easier, they would sing rhythms to it. That's how blues came on. Yeah. Now, when they started getting educated about music later on, when you merge their heritage of African heritage of rhythms and classical music, the knowledge of classical music, eventually you end up somewhere like jazz was born.
The ideas that comprise of jazz came from many different places, but the sentiment of jazz is the blues, basically.
Just to add one thing, that if you see the folk art, folk music all over the world, in Europe or anywhere, they remain same today also. But the blues it grew and is still growing. And the jazz is one form that, as I mentioned, the instrumental part, when it came to more compositional way, more intellectual, input there, which he played. The last piece is almost jazz. So they're more true to the musical, true to the media, not just the story or the personal life or anything, but the pure musical form came out. So they're jazz stands.
Thank you.
My question is, how far relevant was Papa Picasso's paintings, blues music?
This will be the last question also. Yes.
Yeah, I mentioned there the almost same time that a great artist who is probably in formative years, that he was doing the early time that blue period started, and who was trying to tell us the misery and distress and the homeless people's story. So maybe without knowing what's happening in America and Mississippi Delta at that time and how it originated. So I just wanted to say that that's the time all over, that how people started feeling, and the great people, the talent, they reacted. So that's the way I just made the references.
How he influenced,
No.
It influenced other artists?
Oh, yeah, of course, Picasso is a great influence.
It's interesting because all these things, even if they're not directly related to the blues, art is just rapid manipulations of abstractions on the vanguard of new perspective and experience. And that's how all of this is connected. It's just one long train of thought, basically.
I'd now like to request Dr. Banerjee, Director of the American Central Library, to please come up and share some tokens of appreciation we have for our speakers and our guests.
Now I would request our outgoing coordinator, Professor Tanya Chakraborty, to do this honor. Tanya was the coordinator for ALSIC for the last 2 years and really put ALSIC on the map of Kolkata. So let us give a big hands to Tanya. Let us welcome our new coordinator, Anupama Moitra. A big job is on her shoulder now. She will be the coordinator for American Literature and Culture Interest Group from today, I should say, and take it forward and put the name as we built for the last 2 years. So, thank you all. So I was told that vote on thanks, so I should not say anything more.
I would now request Professor Shomita Biswas to come kindly deliver the vote of thanks and the invitation for coffee.
Thank you so much. Let me start by thanking Mr. J.V. Dragon, who has so graciously welcomed all of us here and keeps on doing so. Thanks especially to the speaker today, Mr. Subrata Ghosh, to Mr. Shotajit Chatterjee and Mr. Siddhant Vedkar. Let me use the power of the mic for a second to tell you, if you've been coming to ALSIC events regularly, much of these dots would seem connected. For example, last August, we had a day-long orientation program of American literature. In that, Professor Krishna Sen told us about the Black Arts movement. In June this year, 1st June, we had an event on work songs. And today, both the Black Arts movement and work song came together for us in this excellent presentation. So thank you so much for doing this for us, for such beautiful music, for those fantastic images, and for bringing it all together. Let me also thank Dr. Banerjee, who has been pushing us to produce more and more ALSIC events. Once upon a time, we were once a month. Now we are twice a month. I do not know how many more times a month we are going to be. But if you want to keep up with what the ALSIC has been doing, you could check us out both on the US Consulate General's Facebook page as well as on ALSIC's own Facebook page. Apart from that, the American Central Library keeps on sending you, if you give them your phone number or your email address, you will find out what all is in schedule for the next week. But before that, let me also tell you that ALSIC's next event is on the 24th of July. This event is going to be a panel discussion which is going to be compared by Mr. Jamie Dragon, and the topic of the panel discussion is the role of American literature and its in the struggle for freedom as well as its reflection in it. The speakers are all eminent academicians from in and around Calcutta. We have Professor Krishna Sen, Professor Shangjukta Dasgupta, Professor Himadri Lahiri, and Professor Chaitanya Mitra, who have agreed to be the panelists. So hopefully we will see you on the 24th at 6 p.m. here. Please join us now for refreshments and for coffee. Thank you.